Hello and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Flicks on Pika Magic Brandon. Today we're checking out a brand new vid from him about the new mysterious hybrid Pokemon. Let's hop in and I'll let him explain everything. Let's go.
What if you could breed two different Pokemon to make an entirely new one? Well, we can see what that might look like with hybrid Pokemon.
Oh, that's a little cutie. He needs to get with a dead
Hey everybody,
bedspread.
Brandon here. And today we're covering a concept that I find to be super interesting. Hybrid Pokemon. But what does that mean?
An interesting idea.
Hybrid Pokemon was a concept that was created by Anartistastray over on Instagram. You've seen Pokemon fusions before, but this takes it to a different level. Rather than taking design elements from each Pokemon, they took a look at the concepts of each Pokemon and fused those together.
Now that
It's a
sounds
little hard to
interesting.
explain, so we'll just take a look at one to show what I mean. So first up, we have Snoozy Cub, which is a
Oh, that
hybrid
is
between
adorable.
Teddiursa and Cubchoo. As you can see, elements of Teddiursa and Cubchoo have been combined to make an entirely new
It's like
concept
half
for a
Bulba,
Pokemon.
half
The little
Grizzly
snot
Bell.
that was running off of Cubchoo's nose has been turned into this little cartoonish sleeping nose bubble. Snoozy Cub is a
Very
normal
cute.
ice type, combining the two
Damn,
types
an ad
between
already. Hold
Cubchoo
on,
and
folks.
Teddiursa. Anyway,
And we're back.
enough explaining, and now let me just talk about this amazing Pokemon. I love Snoozy Cub. I think this thing is adorable. I do really
adorable.
love how, Artistastray incorporated the concept of that snot bubble into a snoozing bubble. Super cute. Also, it says in its
wonderful.
dex entry that it has really cold body temperature, so it's like constantly hibernating. So like the combination of
okay.
Teddiursa and Cubchoo has made this weird conglomeration where it can't quite regulate its body temperature, so it's always
No, I
just
can
sleeping.
understand that.
You kind of see what I mean, how it's different from just regular fusion.
Yeah,
But another
I see.
aspect of this concept that is
It's
interesting
great.
and makes it different from Pokemon fusions is how these hybrid Pokemon evolve. So here we have
Oh, look
Grizznor,
at
the
that.
evolution of Snoozy Cub, and as you can see, it doesn't look anything like Beartic
Not
or
at
Ursaring.
all.
It's its own individual design and concept that is evolved from the initial hybrid Pokemon,
And it
which
still
makes
looks
this
so
so
tiled.
interesting to me because there's endless possibilities. Grisnor's design is really cool though, like pun intended. It kept a little snooze bubble
cool,
from Snoozy
cool.
Cub that I
I
liked
get
so
it.
much, as well as it has this these things hanging off the side of its face. It almost looks like it's wearing some kind of pelt in a way. And
Yeah,
like some kind of
kinda.
saber-toothed tiger Pokemon or something with these ice spikes looking like teeth
Maybe.
or something. The body shape reminds me of Ursaluna, even though Ursaluna did not exist when this mon was made. This was back in like 2021 when this was made. But overall,
so
it's
this
a
is
really
before
solid
even
concept and a
Arceus.
really solid
Okay.
design. Next up is one of my favorite hybrids, and it is a hybrid between Sinistee and Milcery named Cuppity.
Oh,
Which makes
that is
complete sense
perfect.
because people put milk in their tea
Perfect.
all the time. These designs blend together so well. Full pun intended, yet
Probably
again.
a
But you
fairy
can
type
see the
instead of
little
a
face
ghost
of
type.
Milcery in the cup, which kind of mirrors how Poltegeist looks when it's outside of the teapot. It's kind of got that face to it as well. So it blends those things together super
That's
well. And the cuteness
adorable.
factor of both
No,
just
not
combines to
adorable,
make
but
an
still just
ultra cute Pokemon. I love its type too, a fairy ghost type. That's such a fun
it's
type
fairy
combo. I think
and
Mimikyu's
ghost.
are only
Okay.
fairy ghost type if I recall correctly. It says in its dex entry that it exudes an aroma that can make a soul leave a person's body, but this thing's making my soul leave my body based on cuteness alone. Cuppity evolves into
Ooh.
Dolchai, which is just an excellent name.
I love
mixing
it.
Dolce, which means sweet, I think, in Italian and I think Spanish as well.
Huh.
And
The head actually
putting in
looks like
chai in there because that's a kind of tea. That's just
the
brilliant.
cream Pokemon.
And
I
as
forget
well
its
as it's a
name.
brilliant
Yeah.
design. It has a little Bo Peep kind of vibe going on to it, with its cups being turned into a full-on dress and like
Oh,
head
yeah.
bonnet.
It is
Even
kind of a
using the
dress and
spoon
a
is kind of
bonnet.
like that same
Huh.
cane that little Bo Peep has. Just a really genius way of
Not
making
bad.
these cute two concepts evolve further from that initial combination of milk and tea Pokemon. Another really clever thing is that they
look.
combined the evolution methods of Poltegeist and Alcremie to, spinning for more than 5 seconds while holding the fancy tea set. I think that's super
Nice.
clever. Next up, we have Nidoran S, which is a
Ooh.
hybrid between Nidoran male and Nidoran female.
Oh,
This design
okay,
is really
finally.
neat. I like it a lot, but it's pretty standard fare. I mean, you can see elements of each Nidoran
It's
in
what
its
we've been
design,
wanting.
but where it gets really interesting is when it evolves. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but it's really true. Each time these hybrid Pokemon
it just
evolve is when
makes
they get
sense.
really interesting. So here we have Nidorook. Yes, rather than going the
Rook?
Nidorina, Nidorino, Nidorine X route, we went Nidorook, which is another chess piece on the
Ooh.
board, a rook. king, queen, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so
This design
what, like
combines
Nido
some of my
Bishop?
favorite aspects of Nidorino and Nidorina, and also gives it a second horn, which is really
Nido
cool, and
Knight?
apparently increases its chance of poisoning Pokemon. But then it finally evolves into Nido Knight. Yes, we
And
had
look
the
at that,
rook
Nido
before,
Knight.
and it evolved into a knight, as in like the knight chess piece as well.
Okay.
This design is so unique and so fun, and departs from both Nidoking and Nidoqueen in the
I
best
love
way,
what's going on
while
with the
still
horns on
keeping the
its
core
head.
elements that make them Nido Pokemon. I Nido this Pokemon, that's for certain.
Yes, please.
Brother, this guy stinks!
While
Hey, I
Nidoking
want
and
this
Nidoqueen
Pokemon
are
as
kind of
well.
bulky, these big monsters, this one's kind of slim, more athletic, kind of speedy.
fast.
It also has a new
Yes.
type in Poison Dragon, which I think
Ooh,
is super
dragon
cool and
typing,
very
huh?
fitting. It's like you
Not
took
bad.
the dragon that the knight fights and fused it with the knight. And a part of this design that I love is it is kind of smaller
it.
and more slim than the Nidoking and Nidoqueen. It kind of feels lesser than the kings and queens, as it's supposed
Yep,
to, because it's
another
a
ad.
knight who
Hold on,
serves the
folks.
kings and queens.
And we're back.
Next up, we have Kitsy, which is a hybrid between Purloin and Glameow. And I'm actually
Ooh.
not as familiar with this one. I
Not
actually
bad.
must have missed it or something because I don't remember seeing this, but it's really cool.
It's a
I really
double
like how the
cat.
tail looks kind of like those little feather toys that you play with your cats with. And I'm pretty sure
Oh,
that's
yeah, I
intentional
see
because
that.
it looks like in the Dex entry, it uses its tail to like try and, you know, get other Pokemon and humans to do its bidding, which kind of plays into cat worship, like Egypt, where they had gods like Bastet, Mafdet, Sekhmet.
Yeah,
a lot of
alright,
Ents in
I
there.
can see that.
This is another example of a perfect hybrid where you
Maybe
can
some
see
kind of
the elements
Egyptian
of
form?
Glameow and Purloin coming together, but also if you didn't know that it was a hybrid, you could see it as its own completely different Pokemon, which is what I love about
nice.
this concept. Obviously, this is a normal dark type, which is pretty cool in and of itself. It's kind of got that normalcy of a cat with the dark typing kind of trickery with its, you know, command over humans and Pokemon.
Kinda reminds me of
Kitsy
that,
evolves into
oh,
Pandera, which is a really cool name.
nice.
Kind of mixes in Panthera with Pandora, like Pandora's box, because it's also like a dark type.
Love
It's
it.
very fancy looking, very posh. Looks like a rich person would own it. It even has this little scarf along its neck, kind of.
I was
one of those
literally just
designer
about to
cats.
mention that, but then
And
I
as I
had to
say that,
yawn.
I look at the description and it says it's, you know, a model, like a Pokemon model, and it sees itself as above humans, which is such a cat thing to do. Next
That
up,
is
we
very
have
cat-
Angler,
ooh.
which is a hybrid between Bruxish and Lantern. I've always been an avid
Nice.
believer that Bruxish deserves more love, so I absolutely adore this design. Taking the
I like
big
it as well.
teeth, the crazy coloration and head flower of Bruxish, and mixing it with the football fish inspiration of Lantern to make it into an actual football fish
Now
anglerfish.
that is an
It's just
anglerfish.
genius.
Yes.
I think after Lantern, a lot of people want to see that more scary looking anglerfish Pokemon, which I
Yeah,
think
why
this design
not?
definitely exudes. It also gives me Blacephalon. Another cool aspect of these
Blacephalon?
hybrid Pokemon is you can actually
I don't think I
change
know
their
that.
typing. With this, it can be either be a water electric or a water psychic type, depending if you give
Ooh.
it a type capsule, which is a new item that Artist Astray made for this series of Pokemon. And here is
Nice.
another one of my favorite
Oh.
hybrid Pokemon. This is Dazzoni and is a mixture between
Nice.
Cantonian, Ponyta, and Blitzel. Absolutely, with my entire heart,
Ponyta
I
and
love
Blitzel.
the way these
Nice.
concepts came together. Taking
I
the
love it as
electricity
well.
and the fire and turning it into this staticky,
Whoops.
fiery mane is
I just realized with the way I have my camera position, y'all have not been seeing all of the mons. But hey, that gives you a reason to go check out the original video. Link in the description.
so cool, as well as the legs having this kind of fiery energy to them and
Looks like it's
referencing
wearing striped
zonkies.
socks.
Excellent work. Just it all comes together so perfectly and seamlessly and makes it feel yet again like its own individual Pokemon, which I
Well, it is,
love. I'm gonna sound like a
technically.
broken record by the end of this video, but I can't help it because this is so cool. As you can see, this Dazzoni is actually its overcharged form, but it actually
what it
has
says
another
here.
form. It's psyched form, which is a mixture
Oh.
of Galarian Ponyta and Blitzel. As you can see, the
Now
biggest
that
design
is
aspect that
awesome.
changed is its mane. It's now fluffier, but it also has these little sparkles in it, which are actually little bits of static electricity. It also has the same energy that was flowing through the previous form's hooves, now flowing through
I
a
would want
horn
both of
as
these
well,
mons on
which
my
is
team.
super neat. And I just
All
love
these
the
just
type
have both
combinations
of
of
them.
these two because you have the overcharged form, which is electric fire type, which is such a cool type combination.
Nice.
And then you have electric psychic type with the psyched form, which is also a really cool type combination. But wait, there's more. They evolve into Zebraze, which also has an
Nice.
overcharged and psyched form. And this overcharged form is so cool. Ah! It's actually
It
hot.
is cool. Why
Like
not?
very hot, as to the point of being like, you know, fire. The elements of electric and fire coming
You
together
tried
to
too
make
much,
this
Brandon. Pull it
fiery,
back.
staticky horse Pokemon is just epic on a different level. The black, yellow, orange,
It's like something
reds
from
that all
Greek
come together,
mythology.
they just work perfectly for an electric fire type, and I just love that. It gives me huge hot rod energies with those the ones that are like painted with all the flames all over them, kind of like the one we saw in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet,
This
you know,
would
with the
definitely
Team
be-
Star. Anyway, here is Zebra's
Oh,
psych
okay, here we go.
form, and I love the changes that they made. Instead of having the face be white, it's now
Nice.
purple, and they changed the rest of the body to white, which is great. As well as the little pattern on the side is more like wiggly and strange, unique, if you will, kind of like
Wiggly
the
and
unique
more
horn
mind
Pokemon
instead of
that
straight and
Galarian
vile.
Rapidash is. And speaking of the horn, it almost looks like a little wizard hat on top of its head, and then has flowing magic coming out of it. Whenever I think Psychic
Not
type, I think
really
the
a
word weird
hat.
now because of the way Dynamax Pokemon,
I
when
don't
they use the
see
Psychic
it.
type Dynamax move, the battlefield would turn weird. So now that's all I can think of. Moving on, we have Wingdim, which is a hybrid between Vullaby and Rufflet. This is so incredibly clever because it's supposed to be like a
is.
caveman. You can see the skull has now come around its shoulder now, and it's supposed to look like those kind of like ancient garbs, those like caveman
Yeah, I can see it.
like tunics. What would you call it? Tunic? I don't know.
Is
Its
it
name
still
is
gonna
called
be a flying
Wingdim because
type?
it's supposed to be kind of like a Neanderthal or like lower intelligence version of a bird Pokemon. And it evolves into Beakrude, which is like
Okay,
a
still a
really
flying
fun pun
type,
because it's
good.
like beak and rude, but it's also Beakrude, like the Crudes, you know, that one
Oh,
movie about
okay.
cavemen. Beakrude
Okay.
actually evolves again into Barbavian, which
Nice.
oh my god, that name. That name is so good. The design itself is fairly simple.
A
I like the little kind of
Bulgarian
like
avian.
claws around the neck with the like skull helmet was really cool. Next up is another one of my favorites from this group, and it
Oh.
is Broomy, which is a hybrid between Hatena and Impidimp. And
I've been waiting to see this one specifically just because this is actually what he uses on the thumbnail. See? You can look down here. It's got Hatium and Grimmsnarl, and then whatever they make, which is this. And now we get to finally see it.
this is so freaking good. It mixes the kind of impish monster nature with the hair and kind of witch vibes of Hatena and makes kind of a classic witch, which is
I
so
see it.
freaking neat. I can't even. And its type combinations work really well. It can either be fairy psychic or fairy dark, which both make sense for this concept.
Truly
An
it
aspect that I really
does.
enjoy is it looks like it's riding its hair like a broom, which is so fun.
Oh,
Broomy
yeah.
evolves into
Ooh.
Dwarlock. This thing is so cool, giving me Gandalf vibes,
It's like
giving me
got evil
Dumbledore
eyes
vibes,
in the hat.
giving me Merlin vibes. Love that. Also, you can kind of feel the darkness from it because these little symbols on its hat look like moons, but they also kind of look like the eyes of Dwarlock. And you mix in
yeah,
a kind of
that's what I just
dwarf
said.
aspect in there. You can see its hands and a little bit of its face are red, kind of emulating the Impidimp line there. And the braided beard
Yeah.
is a nice way to tie it in with Broomy. But what's this? Broomy also evolves into
Oh.
Grimage. This is
So
so,
it's got the,
Gruntilda. It's not even funny,
gender
and
evolution.
I love that.
Huh.
With Jorlock, you
Kinda
kind of have the
like,
reddish skin that's
Rolls.
trying to emulate Morgrim, but this one is the greenish skin that's trying to emulate Grimmsnarl. Not only that, but it's just cool to see like a traditional witch Pokemon. That's like so fun. Next up, we have Papele. Papele? Well,
Ooh.
anyway, it's a hybrid between Flabebe and Cottony. This thing
Okay.
is so adorable. I mean,
It
it's all
is
floofy
adorable.
and
I have
poofy
to
and
say
tiny
that.
and fair, like a little
Love
pixie.
it.
Love it. The part that makes this design for me is they took Cottony's little leaf appendages and floofiness and turned it into the hair and ears of Papele.
Look
which
at
is
that.
so clever.
Yes.
Papele evolves into Bolina. It's so
It does
cute.
look like a
I
dandelion
can't
now.
handle it. I just wish this was real. I wish this was real so bad, guys. Oh my goodness. It's so cute. A little
Someone send
dandelion
this-
fairy?
okay.
Are you kidding me?
Hold on. To anyone out there that's a cradle, make a like plush of this and send it to Brandon. Make him happy.
Like, how do you get better than
Now,
that?
that
How do
would
you
be
get
a
cuter
great,
than that?
thing
I don't
to
know.
do.
I truly don't. Next up, we have Boomba, which
Yes,
is a hybrid
yes.
between Noibat and Gabite. When I thought to make this video, this is the mon that I saw when I was just like, I need to make a video on this. Because it mixes the concepts of Gabite and Noibat so well. If you
It's
played Sword and
perfect.
Shield, or if you've seen the anime, you've seen that Garchomp can fly around like a jet really fast. So it takes that, mixes it with Noibat, and turns it into this little itty bitty plane Pokemon.
It's just so
Pumbaa
cute.
evolves into Mako Jet, which plays into the more shark appearance of Garchomp, while still keeping those plane-like elements
Mako
from
shark.
Pumbaa. And its little ears, I guess you'd call them, are little sonar headphones. Like they're like sonars, but they're also headphones at the same time.
It's clever.
Also, its eyes kind of look like the front of a plane, like the front part where the pilots sit. What's the name?
Cockpit?
The cockpit. Don't know why I couldn't think of that. It combines the sound aspects of the Noibat line with the plane aspects of the Garchomp line by referencing the fact that pilots use radio to communicate with the air traffic controllers. And even having these on the side of its head references the pilots themselves who have the headphones so they can communicate while they're in the air together. All this comes across because of two little head bulbs. It's just genius. And finally, Mako Jet evolves into Jet Apex, or Jet Apex.
I love it.
You can feel the genetics of Garchomp in here with these little side head fins that now emulate airplane turbines. And this Pokemon just looks like it's built for speed, just like Speed Incarnate, Sonic the Hedgehog,
awesome.
whatever you want to call it. Breaking the sound barrier at every turn. The whole line has amazing designs and amazing inspirations.
I would want that
and those
on my
are hybrid
team.
Pokemon, so make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and with that, I will see you guys next time.
Alright, and with that, folks, that is where we're going to end off today's video. So, I want you all to remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I want you to remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Down in the description will be a link to the original video, so remember to support the original creator and all they do. And I'll see all of you folks next time. Peace out.